This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Thursday, November 10th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, Republican red wave turns into a ripple. Georgia Senate headed to runoff. As results from Tuesday's U.S. midterm elections roll in, Democrats seem to have overperformed when compared to expectations, while many Republicans, with few exceptions, seem to have underperformed. There will be a lot more news on this topic in the coming days as more ballot counts are finished up and reported upon, but the broad consensus at the moment seems to be that the anticipated red wave of Republican voters didn't manifest. Democrats will lose quite a few seats in the House, but not as many as expected. Democrats could still hold on to the Senate, but that's up in the air right now, and will be very close either way. And Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida who handedly won another term in office, seems to be the big winner on the Republican side of the aisle, as he's reportedly planning a presidential run in 2024. And former President Trump's picks didn't do terribly well in some races that should have been easy wins for his party. From the Wall Street Journal, Facebook parent Meta announces layoffs of 11,000 staff. Marking its first ever round of large-scale layoffs, Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, among other assets, has announced that it will cut more than 11,000 jobs from its more than 87,000-strong workforce. This workforce cut is several times larger than the recent round of firings at competitor Twitter, which laid off about 3,700 people mere days ago. But it represents a far smaller portion of the company's overall employee base, a trim of about 13% the total workforce, compared to Twitter's firings, which cut its number of employees in half. Meta's layoffs are the consequence of a broader drop in tech world financial fortunes, industry shifts related to advertising, and the result of CEO and founder Mark Zuckerberg's decision to refocus the company on the metaverse, aiming at perhaps illusory, perhaps just distant, technological targets that are unlikely to pay back the investments made anytime soon. And from the Associated Press, World Cup ambassador from Qatar denounces homosexuality. 2 weeks before the beginning of the World Cup in Qatar, an ambassador for the event, a former Qatari national team player, told a German reporter that homosexuality is a, quote, damage in the mind, end quote, and that he has a real issue with children seeing gay people. This is just the most recent public relations body blow for Qatar, leading up to a very important international event that they bid on in order to attract more investment, tourism, and other such benefits to their country. The global pushback that has followed this interview has no doubt been a headache for their PR team then, as have subsequent comments by the ex-president of FIFA, during which he said awarding the 2022 tournament to Qatar back in 2010, when he was FIFA president, was a mistake. These new controversies have also dredged up earlier complaints about reportedly horrible, possibly illegal, worker conditions in Qatar, including for those building the infrastructure required to host the Cup, and climate-related issues the oil-rich Middle Eastern country continues to juggle. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.